welcome to MBA Mental Boost. This is your coach, Dr. Rosie, and today's going to be a short one. The idea has literally popped into my mind and I wanted to share it with you straight away. So we're going to be diving into what I like to think of as the high performance paradox. And this came about because I put out a reel earlier. I'm having way too much fun doing like lip sync reels. But it was all about where our brain can go in terms of, on the one hand, we love routine, then we get bored, so we crave like excitement and adventure, but then we get overwhelmed, so we crave routine. And I heard that audio and I was like, oh my God, I completely relate to that. And I know that if I relate to this, you will relate to it too, because we are all high performers. And the paradox is exactly that, where we like to have routine and structure and things to be organized. But then what happens, and I see this with my clients as well, we like having the practices, we get the morning routines in place, we get the habits embedded, and things are good, and we like the routine, it makes things simple. And then we get a bit bored and we're like, I want to mix it up. And we start to seek out, other things, like new exciting things. And then, like that reel, we then feel overwhelmed, we feel burnt out from all of those activities. So then we crave the routine again. I can see this happening over Christmas as well. We often see this kind of thing this time of year. But what it comes down to is a mindset gremlin. So the mind seeing these things as completely separate. We can either have routine, it's going to be boring, or we can live spontaneously, and that's excitement. We can't have both. And we feel like we're constantly, because of our brain taking us to these very different things, like two ends of the spectrum, then what happens is we start swinging. Like those, I don't even know whether anyone has them anymore, but like those swinging balls that people would have on their desk in an office. I have never worked in an office. I have never had the swinging balls, but we have all seen them. It's like that, like you're constantly like just going back and forth, one side to the other, and it is overwhelming. It's also like such a waste of our energy. But if we can then help our brain to see, you know what, things can flow. Like I don't have to be like significantly swinging from one thing to another. But if I surrender to the flow, which has been a theme with a couple of my clients this week, it's been a theme for myself for a long, long time, but remembering to surrender to the flow of life. And yeah, we have flow state, they're very different things. I've spoken about this before. But we can have that flow within our lives where things feel like they're moving and not in a kind of crazy, chaotic, swinging way. But we feel like things, if you think of, whenever I think of flow, I think of water. So, I have a stream that's at the bottom of my road, like that kind of stream flowing, or the waves, the ebb and flow of the tide. Then things are moving in that way. It's very smooth. Then if we can take our brain to seeing it that way, now what it comes down to is having systems in place that allow you to have those routines, but they don't always need to be fixed. So I find that with clients where routines are great when they're in their home, but then the routines start to get shaky when they're like on the road, they got away games. And I'm like, that's just because your brain's told you that, oh, well, I always meditate at 9 a.m., but now I can't because we've got practice or we're flying. I mean, one, you can meditate while you're flying, but that's because the brain now has got so fixed on this, it has to be a certain way, when it doesn't. If we surrender to the flow, now all of a sudden we see that, things that come up, unexpected events, they don't take us wildly off track. We then see that we can bend and flex. And our routines, they can flex. They're completely flexible. We don't need to get rid of them completely. And now it means that we can lean into our routines, but also we can have those moments where the unexpected happens. Now, the unexpected isn't always going to be fun and excitement and adventure. The unexpected can also create chaos and stress. So, but we can open up to the unexpected, no matter what it looks like, and we can then go, the cliche, go with the flow. But that has to come from having that mindset that you can do those things. You can have the ebb and flow. You can have the moments where, the routines are rigid and structured, and things are kind of effortless in some ways, but, they're very simple because you've got everything mapped out. But also you can have these moments where you do just go with the flow, but your habits don't slip completely. You just bend and flex them. I had that with a client recently. He had his girlfriend coming to visit and he was finding it difficult to meditate. It was literally just a mindset gremlin of I don't have time. He 100% did have time. I'm now wondering if he's listening. But I was saying to him, well then let's just continue the habit, but we'll just reduce it right down. Instead of meditating for 15 minutes, just meditate for 10. Just meditate for 5. Like just still get it done. And then your brain will see that, okay, we can still do this, and then we can build it up. So next time she comes out, he can now meditate for longer. So you tell your brain that we can bend and flex, we can go with the flow, we can, move in that kind of smooth way. And now we're not like wildly jumping from one thing to another and we feel burnt out. So then we go back to the routine and then we feel bored. So we crave the adventure again and it's like a roller coaster. We don't have to do that anymore. But it does mean about being intentional and intentionally deciding every single day that I'm going to show up from a place of flow. And now that just feels so much better. Even as I'm telling you, I'm like, my energy has shifted. So I wanted to share this with you while it was fresh in my mind. So it would be interesting to know whether this lands for you. You might be listening to this at a point where you're like, oh my God, like I needed to hear this. And if that's so, drop me a message on Instagram. I would love to know more about this. I'd also love to continue the conversation. If you want some support around this, I am offering free sessions, like one free session. My own mindset gremlin is then like, whoa, like hold on a sec. Like you don't have loads of space. But I am offering one free coaching session. If you want to drop in, this is definitely a subject that would be great to talk about, the flow state on the court, but also let's look at the flow of your life in general and where can we make improvements and changes. But yeah, drop me a message on Instagram if you want to chat some more about this. And I hope whatever you're up to, you're having a great day. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of MBA Mental Boost, the secret weapon to supercharging your performance on the court. If you found today's episode useful, don't forget to subscribe and share. You can connect with me over on any social platform. You can find me at Dr Rosie Mead. Until next time, go out there and dominate using the power of your mind. This is Dr Rosie, signing off.